but you absolutely should do private labeling because, I mean, at the end of the day, you're a big business. So I'm gonna say it again. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Carissa, and I am back with another video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching my channel. Thank you guys for liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting, and all of that good stuff. If this is your first time here, my name is Carissa, and I am a business coach and consultant. I teach entrepreneurs how to have 4-figure launches and consistent 4-figure days, all while working their 9 to 5. Okay, now as always, let's go ahead on and get into the tea. So I got a request. I actually got a few requests to do a video like this over the past year or two, and so finally I'm sitting down and doing this video, and it is all about private labeling. So if you are a boutique owner, then this video is for you. I'm not sure about any other products. I don't know how to private label beauty products or nothing like that. This is really for like my boutique girls. So I did previous videos, the comment section, and the first thing, how do you select a private labeler? Now this would just be more so a personal preference. So it is so many videos out there on YouTube that, you know, people talk about private labelers all day long. It's no secret which companies are out there. But I will say, use your better judgment. You know, collect the list of quite a few private labelers and go through the list and contact them and weigh out your pros and cons with everyone. In my case, it was more about quality, customer service, respect, and the speed of getting my pieces labeled. So I didn't choose solely based on price, because I just felt like if I'm going to be spending my money with someone, I want to make sure that I can build a great relationship with this person and that the customer service is absolutely amazing, especially when COVID hit and it, you know, everyone was pretty much backed up and the emotions were running high, and sometimes people get a little disrespectful. So I knew I wanted certain things in a private labeler. So I'm big on customer service, so all I can tell you is, for me personally, I weighed the pros and cons of each of the private labelers that I spoke with, and I just chose the best one for me. Now, some of the pros about private labeling, it's so many pros about private labeling. So the number one pro for me personally is that people will remember where they purchased something from. So you ever had, you know, a dress or something just beautiful and you just could not remember where you purchased it from? That is one of the main pros for me, is to know like, oh, looking at tag, oh, I purchased this from this store or this boutique or this person or something like that. So that is one of the main pros about private labeling. It also is aesthetically pleasing with your brand, you know, making sure that everything is right and tight, everything is on trend, you know, everything is just together. Even when you're, you know, starting to get your tags for your clothes to private label, you know, you might as well just go ahead. Like what I personally did, I actually got hang tags that I made myself, and I actually did it on, I actually did that on like Office Depot or Staples or somewhere, and I did it as a business card, flipped it around, punched a hole in it, and put it on my garments. You might as well just go ahead on and get the poly mailers, packaging, all of those things. I don't really care for name brand tissue, but if that's something that you want to do, by all means do so. But what I'm saying is you might as well just start to make everything cohesive, and it's so many cost-effective ways to do that. But yeah, that is probably the first major pro, is that people can remember where they got the product from. The next one is it just looks good. You know, it looks like you're professional. It looks like you're doing a big business, baby. Okay, ain't nothing little about your business. And yeah, so those are some of the pros about that. Now, some of the cons about private labeling is that obviously it does cost. You know, you do have to pay a fee per item, but like with anything else, the more items you get private label, the lower the cost will be. Now, like I say, everything is negotiable. You can try to negotiate like I did with my private labeler. I did negotiate 20 cent off of, I negotiated 20 cent off per piece. And that 20 cent made a huge difference, because you might see it as 20 cent, but when you're talking about getting, you know, 50 to 100 pieces private label every single week, it's like that 20 cent adds up, you know, and then it also helps you build the relationship with the private labeler, right? So with that being said, you know, they see, okay, she's coming to us pretty regularly, you know, they may cut you a deal here and there, you know, they may begin to decrease your amount prior to you even increasing the inventory that you're bringing over to them. But yeah, so one of the cons is obviously, yes, it does cost, and it's not cheap. I won't, you know, it depends on what you consider expensive and what you consider cheap. You know, I think I was paying like I think we settled on like 125 or 120 or something like that per piece. That stuff adds up. Like, that stuff adds up. But the beauty in that is you do want to make sure that you're putting that price into your price of when you're charging, you know, into your markup price when you're charging your customers for that. Another con I would say about that is the time delay. So the time it takes for them to label your product. Now, they are pretty quick. Well, the one that I used was actually pretty quick, but you know, it's about a 2 to 3 day, sometimes 4 day delay. So you can have you can purchase your product from your vendors today, and then you won't get that product, you know, and they could potentially want to ship it out today, but it got to go over to your private labeler. So now it's going to take another 4 days for them to ship it out. Sometimes 2 days. I've gotten stuff literally, you know, they ship some stuff out to me literally the next day before, but now you got to wait for them, you know, to ship it out 4 days later, which delays the time that it gets to you. So that's another con about private labeling. But I mean, everything's going to have pros and cons to it, you know, so I don't want like that to discourage you from doing private labeling, but you absolutely should do private labeling, because I mean, at the end of the day, you're a big business. So I'm going to say it again. So the next question was, how do you coordinate with your vendor and the private labeler to get the product over to them? So as you guys probably know, I purchased pretty much all of my inventory from LA. So the beauty about LA is, you know, in the fashion district, all of those vendors and stuff are right there by each other. So what I would do is I would put a note to the vendor in the description box when I was checking out to say, deliver to private labeler, this name, this address, delivered to them. And what that vendor would do is truly just walk it right on over to my private labeler, or drive it over to the company I was getting my product private labeled at. So it's real easy to coordinate when the vendor and the labeler are in the same vicinity, or, you know, within walking distance or driving distance to each other. So it's very easy to have it done that way, which obviously when you get all your stuff sent to that one place, they consolidate your shipping, and your shipping cost is much lower versus having each individual vendor ship out your product to you. So that's how you coordinate that. When I didn't purchase from somewhere in LA, and I purchased maybe from New York or New Jersey or Atlanta, I actually had some of my tags sent to me from my private labeler. So therefore, when I was purchasing from somewhere that was outside of California or Los Angeles, I can have my seamstress down in Atlanta or Chicago, wherever I was at that time, sew those tags in for me. And they were actually way cheaper, but they were way slower too. So because it was just like one person doing it, so we talking 4-5 days 7 days sometimes to complete that. So that's the part I really didn't like when I would have to do it locally. But yeah, that's pretty much how you coordinate that. And the cost, like I say, I can't really remember if I was paying $125 or $120 per piece at that time. The prices could be different. Like I said, the prices are different at each place. But actually, they're not really different at each place, but the prices does vary. So it's all about, you know, the quantity that you're sending over to them. I think sometimes it's about the frequency that you're sending product over to them. So the price is, it is a little costly, but at the same point in time, you can mark your product up to have that price in it. So therefore, you make your money back. Now, like I said, the price with a independent seamstress or someone at the cleaners or something like that, that price was significantly lower. I think they were doing it for like 75 cents, between 70 cents and 75 cents per piece. But like I say, they were much slower. And then the last question was, do I feel like private labeling is worth it? Absolutely. Absolutely, I feel like private labeling is worth it because you want to make sure that your business is branded correctly. You know, like they always say, start your business exactly how you want your business to be perceived. So if you don't have the money to start right away, please do not feel like you have to do this right away, because if you don't have the money, you just don't have the money. But I would have that in like a set of intentions to do in the future. You know, I didn't start private labeling right away. What I did was, I think I was in year 2 or 3, but I wrote that into the budget. You know, I wrote that into, you know, I wrote in like my budget that I wanted to use money for to run ads, like the marketing budget, the branding budget. Like, so you have to kind of like write these things in as your business grows. You know, I do feel like it's worth it. And, you know, like I always say, it's always personal preference. Sometimes I do know some boutique owners who have been in business for years and they still don't private label, but it truly is personal preference. You know what I mean? But I do want to mention another thing. So I know this question wasn't asked, but I do feel the need to give you insight about what it is. So with the tags, you know, you can get your tags made by someone on Etsy. I've seen people get tags made by people on Etsy, people that they know, other graphic people, all kind of people. I personally used a company that was kind of like partnered with my private labeler. So my private labeler did not make the tags for me, but it was a company that they were partnered with that made the tags for me. And then after looking around for that, they were the cheapest option. And like I said, cheap don't necessarily mean good, but I seen a lot of their work and I saw a lot of boutiques that I truly admire who got their tags made by them. So I really made that decision based on convenience, price, and quality. So, and then pretty much when that company got done making the tags, I gave them permission to send those tags over to my private labeler, because you have an option. Do you want to have your tag sent to you, or you want to have your tag sent to your private labeler? It's just easier to have the tag sent to the private labeler. I did like 80% went to my private labeler, and then like the other 20% came directly to me, only because I knew that I was going to be purchasing product from other places and I needed to have some, you know, in-house with me. So that is it for this video. I hope that this helped you, and I hope that you guys are considering private labeling your business, because like I say, you have a big business, baby, and you have a brand. Okay? And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.